So today we're going to be talking about New York Fashion Week. This is part two in our series about Fall Winter 2026 shows, and we're doing like a sort of season roundup. And this time we're covering all the important collections from New York Fashion Week. I think we have quite a few collections to cover, so let's not waste any time and let's get started. So right now we're gonna start with Ralph Lauren because why not? It always makes sense to start with classic Americana, and Ralph Lauren is all that. I mean, it stands for New York Fashion Week. So about what can we say about Ralph Lauren that hasn't been already been said? It's Americana, it's classic, it's vintage, it's retro, it's everything that you want in a statement building wardrobe. But I think that's generalizing it a bit. Let us now get into the nuances of why this Ralph Lauren collection is kind of cool. I mean, Ralph Lauren is not a brand that you would associate or call cool, right? I mean, but I feel this collection has that vibe, and I see a lot of more newer age and current references here, and while still of course having their old school charm to it. I think it looks very rugged, the whole correct collection. It has that sense of inherent strength. You can see it in the way that the textures are used, you can see it in the way that the styling is done. It's sort of very badass, sorry. It's very western, but it's still so chic. I mean, look at that. That's right out of the 50s or 60s, and it's very chic. The silhouette, the little scarf, the brooch, the gloves, elegant max. But you have the skirt, which is very clearly 1920s flapperish, which of course is such an important part of Americana culture, American culture. This we have a very 80s-esque look. This again is very 80s. I think this I feel is, and like this one and this one is again very 90s look. So I think there's a lot of history to decode here. And I think what I really love about this is how they've managed to sort of do a little bit of referencing and homages to like so many eras, silhouettes, textures, patterns, be whatever it is, and like really put it together into a brand identity, which of course is not that big of a challenge, let's be honest, for Ralph Lauren, because they have one of the most solid brand identities and design languages across the globe right now. And I do feel it's a very strong lineup, and it kind of is the collection where you like really want to just touch everything because it's so tactile heavy. The textures are definitely the key thing here. There's a beautiful clash, there's this chiffon, there's this very beautiful woolen thing, then there's a gorgeous fur, then there are two different types of fur here. We have this suede belt, here we have a chainmail sort of dress, we have this gorgeous layered furry jacket, then we have velvet, we have shimmer, we have the range of textures is gorgeous. This metallic jacket is, it's beautiful. There's so much sort of sculpting, very subtle corseting. I mean, look at this, is gorgeous. The cut is beautiful. It's very dramatic, but you can almost find almost anything from this collection and just wear it right away because of how wearable it is. And there are a lot of medieval references, I feel, especially in the belts are, I think, the most prominent and the most repetitive references to the medieval angle that they're trying to push here. So I think that is something I think beautifully done. And I mean, Ralph Lauren is a decades old brand, so I think their commitment to what they want to do comes really strongly through. But I'm glad we were able to see some more nuances in this collection. So one thing I'm trying to do in the series is sort of pick my favorite look out of each sort of collection, and I think it's going to be a difficult one because, like, I'd be happy with any look that I would get my hands on from this collection. But let's look. Now this is difficult. I love this one. It's very Y2K, but I don't think that's a favorite. I found it. It's this one. It's perfect. This leather vest corset thing, this fluffy blouse, belt, pants, shoes. It's very classic Ralph Lauren, Americana. Like I said, it hits every checkbox. So I'm gonna go with this one. So now we have Carolina Herrera. I mean, how can you just not love this because of just how timeless it is? I mean, when we talk about a brand like this, there's really not much to hate. Which I know was kind of a paradoxical statement when we're trying to sort of review and critique it, but the fact that they are so classic, it really sort of narrows down the criticism that one can have. Of course, one thing this is getting to me here is there's not much evening wear, which is I feel a must. I mean, if I see Herrera, I expect like massive ball gowns just sweeping away, just sweeping on the runway is something I want. But I don't think we see enough of that. They're definitely focusing more on day wear. It is a very day wear focused collection, which is a choice for a fall collection. But they do have gorgeous day wear. I'm not gonna. It's giving very like 80s, 90s, super rich 40-year-old white wealthy woman, which of course is Herrera's audience. But I feel they'll like really lean into that demographic because I think they've been doing actually some pretty cool stuff the couple of seasons. Wes Gordon is beautiful. He's a beautiful designer. And I think this collection they have definitely played it a bit safe. These are interesting, not very classic Herrera. I think these three are definitely the strongest looks because they have that Herrera brand essence, but they also feel timeless in a not so boring way. This dress is gorgeous. The little trims, the heels, it's really beautiful. And I feel this dress is again a classic. I think the bow is beautifully placed. The little bubble hemline, it's really cute. This one is like it reminds me of that Bottega or that Loewe Jonathan Anderson look. This, of course, again is a very classic thing. I love this brooch. It's very again, but I really like it more in this belt format. I think this is a very strong look. I think it's giving a little bit of the raw, very like minimal, quite luxury vibe, which is nice. This is giving so much like Samantha from Sex and the City is something. This is something that she would wear, whereas something like this is maybe more Charlotte. Yes, I don't think we're gonna find a Carrie here, or should we look? What would Carrie wear? Oh my gosh, she actually, I don't know if she's gonna wear all of this. She might wear this is a very Carrie look, I feel. She might even wear this, but like insanely styled with like a flouncy jacket, mismatched shoes or whatnot. This look has a lot of Carrie potential. I think Miranda is like classic. This white dress is Miranda. But oh my god, we just deviated completely. Time for my favorite look. Oh my god, I think I'm gonna go with this one. It's divine, it's beautiful, really gorgeous. So now we are moving on to Aria. So this brand has always been all about expression, flamboyance, very like modern art, artistic, couture-ish looks, very extravagant, in your face glam, very fun, poppy vibe. They've had some very iconic looks in the last couple of years, and they've dressed like the biggest celebrities. They have a very clear, I would not say that they have a very clear, defined aesthetic, but they have a very defined, clear energy, which I feel is even more difficult because it's easy to define aesthetic, right? Like you pick a color palette, you pick a silhouette, you go run at it. But Arya has always been a lot about fun, glamorous fun, unapologetic fun. And I wish I could say the same for this collection. So this was Nicholas Burns. Sorry, I'm pronouncing the name wrong. This was the second collection. The first collection was okay. It was a debut collection, so I don't like really like to critique too much for debut collections, especially if it's not a really big designer. If like Ralph Simmons is debuting, I'm gonna have comments, but I feel that's an exception. I mean, like if big designer is doing it, then I'm gonna be a bitch. But I think apart from that, I'm very quiet on debut collections, unless I love it, of course. But this one, I think Nicholas is gonna need some time to like really settle and define his direction. This is unfortunately not. It's not going anywhere. It's not even like that. It's off brand or it's new direction or whatever. Like everyone hated on the Versace by Diaro Vitale because it was like a completely different version of Versace. Doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. I don't think it was bad, but it's not even that. I just feel like this collection has it's too all over the place, it's too confused, it doesn't know what it's saying, there's no cohesiveness. And I mean, if I were to pick like a look individually, like it's a pretty cool like streetwear look. If this was to fit in any other designer's library, I would like love it. This is a very gorgeous piece. It's giving me Christopher John Rogers. The color is beautiful, the trims are nice. Even this is such a this is like beautiful. It looks like those Indian sari inspired drapes. I love the print, I love the drape. It's beautiful. Even the top version is pretty nice. This is a more classic look. This is kind of fun. So I think there are definitely very strong pieces, but they're not saying anything. And I mean, this is like looking DIY in the worst way possible. It looks like a fake Aria scarf that has been made into a skirt, which is not what we want to see. So, I mean, I think craftsmanship and everything apart, I think the collection definitely lacked any sort of nuance or it. I don't think it had anything to say. So it was difficult to relate to it. I mean, this is a very fun look. It's very New York retro glam. It's giving like those like loser fitted 1920s chic. I think the potential is there, but I think the direction is nowhere. This is, I can't. This one is traumatizing. And picking a favorite look is gonna be a bit tricky, but I might go with this one. I think this is a gorgeous look if I look at it objectively. I think this is a very beautiful look. I think it has partially, maybe I'm loving it because it's very South Asian coded, and but I think it's a very good look. I think it also can, it's a very versatile look. It can fit into the portfolio of like so many brands that I can think of. I don't want to name them right now. It's a very strong look. But I think, yeah, I definitely want to see more from Arya, and hopefully something else from Arya. Okay, now we're moving on to Coach. I love Coach. I have always loved Coach. I know Coach bags have always had the reputation of like cheap, curly, first ever luxury purchase kind of bag vibe, but that's so unfair. And Coach has like really amped up their sort of design house skill set, their clothes, their bags. It's like hitting all across the park. Gen Z is loving it. They've had like a major resurgence and comeback, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm a Coach girl forever. I have this so many. I was like trying to buy the Coach cherry, the cherry one bag like a couple of years back, and it was impossible to find it. I looked for it in Bangkok. I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked for it in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. I couldn't find it anywhere. So they're like sold out. I mean, that was a classic bag. I was like dying for it, but I could not find it. But I mean, yeah, they're doing really well. And this collection is just a masterclass in styling because, first of all, it has some like really cool pieces that would look good, like regardless of what you wear them with. These jackets are jackets that you can keep in your wardrobe forever. Jeans, of course, I mean, Coach does good jeans. This is pretty cool, very New York, very underground Gen Z. And I think the way that they've managed to sort of blend in their 90s minimalism cool, which is sort of their signature, with this whole Gen Z vibe is pretty fun. And in this collection, especially, they have like a lot of 70s reference, which I really like. 70s sportswear reference, not like the 70s glam reference. There are a lot of there are sports reference overall, like the varsity and everything. These like this gorgeous sweater, this bald eagle sweater is amazing. It looks very put together, but it doesn't feel like polished. There's this sort of rawness to it, which is why I think the younger audience loves it so much because it feels more authentic. It feels more personal. It feels more like attainable in a way. And not that Coach is insanely cheap, right? I mean, Coach is not like a cheap brand. It's not fast fashion. It's like it's a luxury brand, but I feel that the way that they've presented themselves makes it very desirable. It makes it look cool, which is difficult for luxury brands to do because luxury brands are often like considered like they often have like classic clothes or maybe couture clothes or maybe evening, like think from a perspective of a middle class young Gen Z person, like how do they relate to the clothes objectively apart from the whole branding and the luxury angle of it. So I think Coach has done that really well, and I think with their slightly more attainable price point than the rest of the luxury, where like luxury prices are like touching the sky, I think they have done really well, and their clothes are showing that, and I think the results are also showing that. So I do really love this collection. Oh my god, time for my favorite look. So it's gonna be difficult because I am a jacket person, and it is difficult for me to choose between jackets. And wherever I see jackets, I go crazy. But I think, oh my god, I think I'm just gonna go with this because of how gorgeous it is. This like sort of leather Swedish shirt. You have your star, you have your layered jacket, you have your denim, you have your cute little red bag. It's perfect. It's perfection. It's a classic look. I can wear it almost every day. I can wear it almost every season, which is amazing. So I want this, yeah. Okay, so now we're moving to the next one. Now we're moving to the next one, which is Prabal Gurung, South Asian King. So, actually don't remember this collection. Oh my god, yes. So this collection was a lot about evening wear, and it was a lot about a more restrained but sort of statement making glamour pieces. I mean, this black one or this white, or even if you look at more simpler pieces like these gorgeous asymmetrical satin beautifully draped tops with like simple pants or maybe like a sheer skirt. Even this dress is pretty beautiful clothes, but one thing about this is that if you look at the collection, there's like the storytelling, yes, for the sake of it, but I don't feel that there's any sort of cohesion, like it's just not coming together that well. And I do feel it's looking a bit sort of unfinished here and there, and I think that is a lot because of the lighting that they've chosen, because the light is just not helping these fabrics. I think they could have done it in like the Ralph Lauren said that. I think that is what, you know, the music, the lighting, atmosphere plays such a big role in how we perceive clothes. Because yes, the gold is looking gorgeous, but the silver is not. It's just not. It's not flattering to the clothes, I feel, which is why the clothes are looking a bit more out of place, a little, you know, a little almost gaudy. I hate to say it, but they are. And I do feel the collection could have used a bit more cohesion, but it has gorgeous pieces. I mean, this top is beautiful. It's a classic. It's beautiful styling. The little drape, it drapes are such an important part of South Asian culture. I really love that reference. This again is a beautiful coat. This is beautiful. I love the top half. I think that it could have been cinched a bit more and then just flown off a bit more. This is beautiful. I mean, it's a gorgeous color, and this color is like really taking over right now. I'm seeing this color everywhere, and I love this like drop waist belt. This feather look classic. I think this is a beautiful color combination, but I just feel the neckline is. I know they're trying to have like subtle like boat neck vibe, but it's just. It looks like it's a mistake, which I think we could have done it better. There's so much potential, but I feel with a little bit more refinement, it could have been like the strongest collection of New York Fashion Week. But I think, oh my god, this is beautiful. I think I'm gonna pick this to be my favorite because the color is insane. The silhouette is beautiful. The shape, the way that the model has worn red lips, again beautiful. I think I really love this. The fabric looks very rich. I think it's a strong collection, but I think just Prabal generally delivers heaven, and I think this was just the gate of heaven. So I think, and maybe I'm being too critical, but I mean, sorry. Okay, now let's move on to Tory Burch. Oh my god, this was a surprisingly amazing collection, and I don't mean surprisingly in like a bitchy way. I just mean that this was not the vibe that I expected from them. Even though it's very classic Tory Burch, but I feel so. This is basically a coach, but for a slightly older woman. And I know people get like really mad when you compare brands, but I really think this is because just the styling. It's if Coach is for a woman in her 20s, mid 20s, a Coach Tory Burch is for the woman in the 30s because it's perfection. I mean, look at these cuts. They're classics, but they are cool. They are comfortable. They are everyday wear. There are gorgeous gowns. There's this asymmetrical cape. My God, look at that. And they have this like very classic sort of like drape, this pleated dress. This green is of course amazing. It's giving very like New York in the summer vibe. The sheer top, oh my god. Though this one, it's too much going on here, but still it's a good piece. This one in gray is so much better. My god, now I feel stupid for drooling over the yellow one. But I think these gorgeous coats, these very like sort of Chinese print wallpaperish clothes coats, sorry, and this gorgeous coat with like a matching neck piece with a little fish on it. Oh my god. So I think definitely a very strong collection, and then Emrata in this blue look, beautiful. But I just actually, you know what, there's really no criticism to this. All the looks are impecably styled, they look gorgeous. And when you look at a brand like Tory Burch, it's a lot about styling because you're building your wardrobe with brands like this. So I think it's really important that they have like clothes that you actually want to wear, because I think that is what the brand and the gap that the market, that is the market and the gap that the brand fulfills. So it's really important that they do that. I think they've done that beautifully here. I really love this braided belts. It's reminding me of those Y2K belts. I used to have something like this as a kid. It's kind of nice. The jewelry is nice. Oh my god, the fish is back. Is fish back? Reminds me of those owl necklaces that millennials used to wear. Is fish for the Gen Z? I don't know. I'm seeing it for the first time, but actually looks pretty cool. I love that. But I think a very strong collection. And oh my god, time for my favorite look. Okay, this is gonna be difficult because I do really love this gray piece, but I also love these three. I mean, I first of all, I don't think I can ever choose between these three looks. Even these are pretty cool, like leather skirt and a shimmery cardigan. Why not? These are also sort of Prada-ish, right? Oh my god, I think I'm gonna go with this one. It's just beautiful. The necklace, the double cardigan, the leather skirt, the simple heels. It's just giving. It's giving. Okay, so next we have Michael Kors. You can never make me hate Michael Kors. They are just gorgeous clothes, one after another, classics. Beautifully made, perfectly styled, nothing to love. Sorry, nothing to hate. I misspoke and I didn't mean to. And I genuinely misspoke and I kind of feel bad about it. but it's just a beautiful collection. I absolutely, one of the first most important luxury purchases that I did was Michael Kors bag. And I know people hate a lot on Michael Kors because it's so basic, it's a basic bitch brand, but I think they make gorgeous clothes. They make clothes that people like the masses would actually wear. They are easy to style. They are forever pieces in your wardrobe. I mean, most of them are just like this. My god, look at that. The skirt, classics. Like I said, classics. He makes just simple, good clothes. You can't expect like Schiaparelli level couture artistry or maybe like a Chanel couture craftsmanship here. I think, and that goes for a lot of New York brands. Like I was talking about Coach, like I was talking about Tory Burch. They are mostly, a lot of them are more commercial in their offerings. So I think we have to appreciate them for what they are. And like this is beautiful. I think this might just be a favorite look, and it's perfection. Like the little heavy sort of necklace, the shirt, the blue shirt, the dark gray pants, the drape, the drape. Beautiful. But I have to say this, like red evening wear moment is definitely a very close contender. Michael Kors is very true to himself, his aesthetic, what they want to do. They are very easy looking, their clothes are very easy on his eyes. He knows who his customer is, and it's very important to do that, especially when you're building like such a wildly successful brand. Michael Kors is a big brand. I mean, they are doing amazing financially, and this is the reason, because they have been able to position themselves as a luxury brand who you can wear every day, and that is a little difficult to do. I mean, so I think they're doing amazing. And this was, if I'm not wrong, this was his 45 years of celebrating the brand, which is insane. 45 years of Michael Kors, that is amazing. I wonder how old Michael Kors is. I actually have no idea how old he is. Michael Kors is 66. He started his brand. When did he start his brand? It says that he launched his label in 1981. I'm not sure how they are calculating. Or maybe first of all, I'm like really terrible at math. So this section you can just skip through it if you want, but I would rather you didn't. It is 45. 2026 minus 1981, 45 years. That's crazy. Like, imagine a 66-year-old designer celebrating 45 years of his brand. That's insane. I mean, he was like what? 21 when he started the brand. That's insane. And that is beautiful. That's a beautiful story. I think I need to research more on Michael Kors and how he started. Yeah, we deviated again. We have already done the favorite look. Let's move on. Sorry. Ashlyn, my upcoming fave. I already know what my favorite look here is, but I'm gonna wait to tell you because it was my favorite the minute I saw it. Ashlyn is, in fact, I think she won the CFDA, if I'm not wrong, the award. I'm really, my memory is completely fucked, so I am sorry. But Ashlyn, first of all, look at these clothes. They are just so texture rich, and look at the cut of this gown. It's beautiful. It's so regal. It's so cool. I don't know how she's done it. This red one, yeah. So I'm just gonna tell you, this was my favorite because look at that. It's the skirt is so, just wanna like sleep. I would use that skirt as a pillow because of how gorgeously soft it looks. The sweater is beautiful. The little frill on the end. This was, a lot of it was expression of like American dressing, classic American dressing. I mean, her strength in tailoring is very clearly visible. You can just see how it's all coming together. She built this collection on the idea of restraint and release. Raw edges, sculptor waist, softer silhouettes, it just all comes together so beautifully. The layers I love, the textures I love. I think she like really captures how like New York women dress. And I think Ashlyn, even though she's a fairly young designer, a young brand in the market, I think she's like really carved out a niche for herself. And like as we build more upon that, I think we're gonna see some like really beautiful looks out of this. Even this look is so simple. Leather pants, it's like sheer massive oversized shirt with just one button, a beautiful woolen blazer. It's perfection the way that the styling is done. Like every look has so much more depth and detail that you would simply not expect it, right? So I think that's what like really stands out, because when you zoom in, you're like, oh my god, there's so much going on. Like, look at this, those little like white hems, the buttons, the slit here, the simple black shirt, it's all coming together. And if you notice, this white raw hem is actually on the shirt, it's not on the blazer. That's a beautiful detail. Even if you wear them separately, you have such a statement piece. And that is like what I really love about these designers, because they have like such nuance and detail to, have much to look forward to when you examine these collections. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. We have Ola Johnson. I am actually one upset. You know Zimmerman, right? I mean, she feels like an American, more cultural version of Zimmerman. And I'm not just saying that because they are amazing with prints. I mean, look at that gorgeous like motif they've used. The skirt suit is gorgeous. Again, here, pink here is beautiful too. So I think Ola has a very strong sense of color. Like there is red, there's cherry, there's like a lot of gold here, which of course, you know, like stands out almost everywhere. It's a very wide color palette, though I do feel the colors could have been like maybe like restrained a bit more. She defines this collection as a reflection on like strength, softness, and the contrast that shows up almost everywhere. So you can see it like, you know, little things like, you know, the contrast here, the little like layering moments, the sort of juxtaposition of like fabrics, you know, how you have such a beautiful suede sort of sequin moment and you have like a simple like lingerie moment going on inside. There was a lot of like boho dresses, there was like 70s inspired suiting, there was a lot of experimentation I think going on in this collection. I do feel that this is definitely less visually cohesive than her latest, and I think more of her stronger collections. I would not say that this is her strongest collection, but I do feel it's a very good one, and I do really like the exploration. I think she definitely does summer collections definitely better because of, I think of the brand vibe and the energy. And I feel that the I think what I really love here is the experimentation of the textures on the fabrics because it's just so fun and she's so good at that. I feel it like really is important for designers to sort of keep experimenting, and that evolution is what like leads us to like more interesting stuff. But I think even in this sort of experimental era and this sort of time when she's sort of doing this and that, we got some like amazingly wearable clothes out of it, which is again very difficult because like we saw in Aria, there was so much going on, but there was nothing that a person could pick up. A loyal customer would be able to find so many garments here, even though it might not look good as a collection when we critique it. But as a consumer, there's so much here. I mean, look at this gorgeous. I mean, there's like little like feather appliques here. This again is a very beautiful evening wear look. So I think there's a lot for a customer here, which I really appreciate. Okay, now we have Anna Sui is my favorite New York designer. I You cannot do anything. You pay me how much ever you want. I'm never gonna say anything bad about Anna Sui because her clothes are all about like styling it yourself, like actual personal style. Like I love brands and collections that push you to build your own style. And I know that sounds a little contradictory when you see such perfectly styled collections, but let's say that you have this coat or you have this jacket or you have this top, they are such statement pieces on their own that it like really elevates your wardrobe. I mean, I you know, there are only very few designers who like add on to the process of building your personal style, and Anna Sui is one of them. And she's a New York icon. I mean, look at this look. It has a reference to almost every decade you can think of. Look at this gorgeous bodycon sheer printed dress, the drape, my god, the little neck piece, the scarf neck piece, the little necklace, everything is perfection. The little skirt here, and this like mob wife core or whatever. I mean, there's so much to love here, and Anna Sui just gets it. She is that girl. She's always been that girl. And now it's the time to pick my favorite look. And this is impossible. I cannot do it. I cannot. Oh my god. I want to go with this one. I really wanted to actually pick a green one, but the styling on this is immaculate and I love the massive hair. So I think I'm gonna go with this one. I mean, I love this. So I really don't have any. I mean, Anasu just gets it. Like I said, the colors, the prints, the jewel tones, the floral, the fabrics, the brocade, the sort of sheer, the fur, nothing over here was a minimal concept. She's a maximalist bitch, and only she has the confidence to put a collection like this together and just own it and just kill it. And I love her for that. Okay, next we're talking is Calvin Klein. So this was Veronica Leone's first collection, if I'm not wrong. Oh my god, I don't actually remember. So this collection had a lot of that 90s Calvin Klein cool charm and that minimalist energy. There were some genuinely good pieces. The clothes were good. I feel it was too 80s corporate core for me to like really love it. But I do feel that there was a lot to like here. But I cannot deal with this look. This looks like a tarp that has been worn it's just not it, and this like really just put me off. But I think overall it's a very collection with a lot of potential. I mean, this is gorgeous, this dress, this is again beautiful. Like I said, there's a lot to learn. It's very Calvin Klein collection ish. Like you, like if I tell you see this collection and I'm gonna tell you that it's Calvin Klein, you'll be like, okay, fine, yeah, Calvin Klein. I feel it's not new. Calvin Klein, I think it's missing like the sensuality of it. There's nothing to like sort of just take a second look at. Everything is just like good, it's well made. It has a very corporate vibe. It's too strong. I feel it needs to be softened a little. It needs to have that sensuality because Calvin Klein is a lot about sort of sexy clothes. And I don't mean sexy clothes in terms of lingerie or like revealing clothes. I just mean they need to have an inherent sexiness, which I feel is missing here. And I mean, I think she's tried to do it with a couple of looks, but it's just not hitting. It's too bulky, the collection. But I think there's so much potential. Veronica Leoni is, of course, a brilliant designer. And I think this was her first or second collection, and she's gonna turn it around. I know it. I just know it. But I think it's a very strong outing for a early collection. Favorite look, definitely this one. I know this has a lot of characteristics of the looks, of the characteristics of the things that I hated upon right now. But I think it's a very strong look. It's very cool. I love the neckline. I love the overlay of the top over the skirt. I think it's pretty cool. So next we have Christian Cowan. This was an amazing Christian Cowan collection. It was so sultry. It was so sexy. It was just beautiful. I didn't even expect to love a Cohen collection that much. And I know that sounds a little bitchy, but really, it's beautiful. It was very cinematic. There was like romance. There was like sort of melancholy. There was like a sort of obvious like softness to it, but there was also like this very power to it. There was like bullet bras, garter belts, corsetry was like exposed. There was like disheveled necklaces and slips going on. It was a good balance between what you can control and what you cannot. I mean, this like look, this sort of draping look, a sort of a messy vibe, this like sort of a corset that is like built on top of a body, and structured tailoring was of course a big thing. Like Owen has, I think some of my favorite looks that he's ever done have been like minimal tailored looks. And this, of course, is a very Cohen look. It's very obviously sexy. This was definitely one of his most convincing and compelling collections. I think it showed a lot of growth in what he has been doing as a designer, because a lot of collections of his leans a lot towards theatrics and obvious theatrics and gimmicks. But I think this just spoke for itself. Favorite look, definitely this one, the perfection, like the fur coat, the pants, the sort of like literal like innerwear being outside. It's pretty strong, so I really love that look. Okay, so next we are moving to Thom Browne. Thom Browne to date has some of the most beautifully put together and styled looks ever. But today I really want to talk about the world building and the brand building that he has done, which is just so instantly recognizable, immaculate, commercially doing well, and he's just so sure of himself in a very beautiful way. Like there's a sense of surety in his work, which is very rare for designers to have, on how you can put out, collection in season with experimentation, and you can still not lose the core of what the brand is. You can elaborate upon your insanely strong design language. That is a blessing for a designer to have. And I don't mean blessing to undermine his work, but I feel that it's an insane thing that he has been able to do. This collection, of course, centered on like signature tailoring, like revisiting his sort of iconic moments like sag jackets, like a lot of crop trousers, Bermuda shorts, of course, which are like such an important part of his. Proportions were very sharp, very crisp, and a lot of gray. Of course, I mean, there's no question about it. There were duffel coats, flight jackets, there was a lot of cashmere. And I think, of course, the blend between the sportiness and the tailoring aspect of it, the little like red and blue necklines, very Thom Browne. If I'm not wrong, this was the closing look. It was just beautiful. There was so much to love with the little ties. The pinstripe is, of course, my favorite moment of all time. And there's so much to offer here. Even like if you look at it commercially, there's so much to offer to a consumer. And as a consumer, you have a million options. You have so much breadth of creativity to choose from. And it's time for my favorite look, which is gonna be this gorgeous, I know it's not a very Thom Browne look, it's just beautiful. It's 90s minimalism, the sleek skirt, the top, mismatched shades of gray. Looks beautiful. The coat length is awkwardly perfect. The bag is beautiful, though I wish the bag chain was silver, but that's me nitpicking. But this look is beautiful, so I'm just gonna go with that one. Next we have Rachel Scott. I know Rachel Scott is the designer. Designer's name. The brand is called Diotama. The brand is called Diotima, and oh my god, it was pretty fun. It is. I think if you were to ever give a prompt to AI and tell him to put together a 30 look collection for New York Fashion Week, I think this is what they would come up with. And I don't mean that in a derogatory or a negative sense. I just mean that her work is so rooted in the city. Her work is so central to how we picture New York and how she pictures New York and how she represents it on the fabric, that it's just synonymous with what we expect out of New York Fashion Week, and which is saying something because New York has some of the biggest designers, you know, around. So I think that's a pretty big achievement. In this collection, she was inspired by the Cuban modernist artist Wilfredo Lam, and she focused on refining her strengths, her strengths being like tailoring, of course, a lot of texture play, which you can see like here, so much beautiful texture plays, like gorgeous outerwear, just like beautiful, like look at that coat. And like she's been like really doing this really well. There was a lot of jackets, very defined silhouettes. Her clothes carry the sort of emotional weight in themselves. You can like literally see it. You can see the sort of woman designing for women aspect in her clothes, which is going to be difficult to pinpoint, but you can just see it because when men design for women, there's a slight gaze to it, but her clothes have such a clear feminine gaze to them that's just instantly recognizable to a woman. And she like really knows how to create clothes that sort of hold your attention without making them seem too much, or like what we would call a statement piece. So she's always been rooted in craft, and it shows. And I think this like really collection is a strong testament to her evolution as a designer. And it's time for my favorite look. Oh my god. I want to choose this one, but I have some quotes in my mind. I think I'm going to choose this one. Even I didn't expect it to choose this one, but it's just so beautiful. It's giving me like New York art scene grunge. Like if I was invited to like a cool art gallery, this is what I would wear. And that's a fun scenario for me to be in. Next, we have Laquan Smith. So Laquan Smith is king of sexy, and he's done it this time as well. I mean, look at that. That's a gorgeous top. Again, this also reminds me of that rubble top that we saw, the little drapey tops. This reminds me of that Gucci like red look. The pink and red is my forever favorite combo. A lot of leather. I love seeing Laquan and leather together. He does it really well. This is beautiful look. I love this. Is like reminds me of that internet trend office siren. It's so that even this one. And I love like the open bow tie, the leather, the I think they're crocodile texture leather pants, which are kind of cool. This leather coat is really cool. But I definitely will say that the satin tops were among the best pieces. They felt so smooth, confident, very naturally sensual without needing any like add on to it, which is so important. Tailoring also played like a major role. I mean, like, you have so many beautiful tailored looks, and especially these two. And I really like the suggestion that Laquan is doing more than just like party wear clothes or let's like hot girl nightlife clothes, which I do love him for that. But I'm glad that he's experimenting a little bit more, I think. But there are looks that lean into his like provocative looks, which of course is this one. And this is so beautifully hot. This little like bow tie moment, like the bow tie that we saw here, comes back as just the bow tie. It's beautiful. This little thong, I don't know how the bow tie is held up. It's with like sheer sleeves. It's pretty cool. These two are very dated in my opinion. I don't know why. I think I can still deal with the bodysuit. This dress is pretty dated. It's giving very 2013 14. It's kind of giving gaudy. Like I hate to say it, but it does. But I think definitely happy to see that Laquan Smith is expanding his world. There's a lot of mix of a lot of things to love: sexy, corporate, outerwear, and I love to see that. So now we have Kate. This was a very interesting collection. I will not say it was my favorite Kate collection ever, but I do, I see so many designers in this collection. And the thing is, I don't even feel that she was obviously referencing them. I see a lot of Saint Laurent. I see a lot of Eddie Slimane. I see so much Parisian chic vibe here. I see so much Paris here. That's insane. I really can't look past it. But I think it's a very strong collection. There are, of course, very beautifully chic looks here, and she's definitely dressing the coolest girls alive. I mean, cool girls wear kid. Everyone knows that. She's pushing her woman forward. This was like power dressing rewritten for the brand, and the silhouettes are very impactful. Like they're very retro 80s. The tailoring is beautiful. The leather jackets, the coats, the decorative braiding, there's so much. The trousers are definitely the strong suit. There are sheer organza delicate dresses, which I really think is a very beautiful moment. Slip dresses are, I think, a little bulky in shape, but I think the right woman with the right styling can like really pull it off. Beautifully textured. There was nothing that felt flat here. There was like depth and richness to each collection. I think it's also giving sort of slightly dangerous vibe. I mean, look at this beautiful fur top piece. There was a lot of experimentation here, but it never felt out of place. The result was very classy, even with all whatever she wanted to experiment. There were a lot of military references, but it was also very Parisian vintage chic. It's also very 70s. So I think that's a very interesting things references to come about. It doesn't feel forced. All the references like really stand together. And I think my favorite look of the night is this one. And you can just see like it's giving Parisian 70s and it's military. This is a beautiful look that signifies everything that this collection wants to stand for. The coat is a dream, the jeans, the dark jeans, lovely. The belt, the satin shirt, the little massive bow, even the hair is perfect. This look is just, it stands so strong in what the brand wants to convey with this collection. I think this should have been the first look. I think that would have set the tone for this collection so beautifully. But regardless, beautiful collection. Again, you can see this skirt here, again a very strong look, but this one just amazing. Then we have Artuzara has been like really killing it with their exploration of silhouettes. I mean, just look at these two first of all. They've like really managed to find like strength and protective silhouettes. I would call them protective silhouettes. His this feels like a commitment to like texture, volume, and statement outerwear. And I mean statement. It was one of those shows where individual pieces immediately stood out. The coats carried the collection: cocoon shaped peacoats, oversized lapels, brushed bombers. Like, my god, look at that. And there were like heavy leather jackets. There was a bulkiness to most of the looks, but I feel it worked in their favor because of how overwhelmingly strong it felt. These two looks remind me a little bit of those Celine looks. Phoebe Philo Celine with the Yves, the Klein blue. And it was a very intense collection. This was a very intense collection. There was so much texture and there was so much heaviness going around. But I think it was very confident in its execution, which is all you need for a strong collection like this, because it is very easy to get overwhelmed with clothes that are saying so much. So I think if you have a strong lineup and if you have a strong story and vision, I think then only you can pull it off. And I really love these little moments of very sleek, sexy gowns that we got. And do you see how like there's like subtle sort of stripes on it? I think they're like layered mesh onto each other. That's how they've achieved it. A beautiful detail. Even this sort of olive mustard gown is beautiful silhouette. The shape is beautiful. The waist is immaculate. Even this one, I think the same gown, slightly more structured in white, also I think says a lot. The styling was slightly eccentric, but it was very intentional. Like I said, very planned. So I think comes together very beautifully. And even with all this drama and experimentation, the collection feels very commercial. Like, it had those surprising moments, but I think there was this undeniable like desirability to actually wear them, which is so important, of course. And it felt very relevant. It felt very cool and relevant. And like I said, this reminded me of that Celine collection. I think overall the confidence also emulates like Phoebe Philo Celine, because of like how sure they were of their aesthetic and their direction that they were going in, which I know can be said for a lot of brands. But with this aesthetic, this sort of navigating this minimal versus maximalism, this like designing for women, there's so many angles to it, but I feel that this collection like really hits it. Favorite look of, my god, this is gonna be a little tricky because each look is styled very well. So I'm liking like one piece from here, one piece from there, so that is why it's tricky. But I feel my favorite look is gonna be, I'm gonna say this collection, sorry, this look, because first of all it has two jackets and I love jackets, so I'm happy to get two ones. This olive jacket is beautiful. This like leather with like military jacket is pretty cool. This very classic cardigan, a suede bag, a white skirt, and a cool belt with a silver buckle. What more do you need in life? I think that's a perfect look. Now we have time. Now we have our final collection, which is Seven for All Mankind. Might I say this was the best collection this New York? And you wanna know who designed? This was Nicola Bergano, the man behind the Blue Marine Resurgence. The man behind the Blue Marine Resurgence. He made Y2K comeback single-handedly with that iconic Blue Marine collection, and he is now trying to bring indie sleeves back. Amazing collection, insane styling, and I would highly recommend that you go and watch the YouTube video for this collection because the models are killing it. The walks are amazing. This collection has some of the most desirable pieces. I mean, like, my god, would you look at that? It's right out of the, like, 2010s TV shows, Gossip Girl vibe. Like, there's so much to love here, like the styling, the layering, the little ribbon on the hand. The details are like impeccable, and I think, like, look at these mini dresses, the like layered costume-ish jewelry that you feel like you've worn from your mom's jewelry box. You've like literally stole it and run away. This again, this gorgeous long scarf, red gloves, because why not? Why won't you just wear red gloves? I think we as a society need to wear more brightly colored gloves. I think it was a very beautiful collection. This purple look, this dress, though I do feel the models are insanely skinny here, but that's a conversation for another day. And I love that they're wearing two watches, leather gloves, and they have these like massive, very Y2K-ish bags. And I love that the mini skirt has a drape, because why wouldn't it? I love that how much the collections are offering a drape in almost everything. This skirt is of course again gorgeous. I cannot choose a favorite look. I'm sorry. I think I'm just gonna ditch that because this collection is too good. No, I'm kidding. I'll do it. I'll power through because oh my god, there's so much to love. What do I select? My favorite look. Fuck. Shit. I think I'm gonna go with this one because it has a lot of the things that I love. And I think this is something I would actually wear. I think either one of these two, but I think I would prefer this. The denim skirt suit, the sort of stockings, the red gloves for the color, orange ribbon. I would switch the orange to something else. The jewelry, the scarf, the shirt, the vest, it has everything. I love it. It's overly styled, and I love overstyling sometimes. But I mean, yeah, that's my favorite look. But overall, great collection, best collection this New York, and that's saying something because we had some amazing collection. Michael Kors, Anna Sui, we had amazing lineup. Altuzara was amazing. So definitely big competition, but great collection. So that's why we ended with the best, right? So yeah, that was about it. That was a intense New York roundup. I have to say I'm kind of tired. That was like me yapping for like a very long time. I'm gonna have to cut this video so much, but do watch it. Do let me know what is your favorite collection this season and what you liked about New York Fashion Week. And next video we're gonna do is Milan Fashion Week, so do check that out. And Milan and New York are sorry. Next we're gonna do is Milan Fashion Week. As you can see, my lipstick has gone away and I forgot to just touch it up. I'm not a pro YouTuber yet, so I don't like do makeup touches in between. So sorry for that. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Do check out all the other stuff that I've been making. If you get a chance, do check out my Instagram. I'm doing some, self promo here. But let me know what you think and let me know your favorite collection from this New York season. Bye.